The first Krix warship emerged from the wormhole like a blade through silk. Dr. Lisa Chen watched from the observation deck of Luna Station as the vessel's impossible geometry twisted against the star field, its hull absorbing light rather than reflecting it. "That's not good," she muttered, fingers flying across her haptic interface. Alex Volkov, the station's defense coordinator, stood beside her with his arms crossed. His jaw was set in that particular way that meant he was already running combat calculations. How not good? Their hull is radiating in frequencies that shouldn't exist. Whatever material that is, it's operating outside our understanding of physics. Lisa pulled up spectral analysis data, her cybernetic eye overlaying information directly onto her visual cortex. Energy signatures suggest they're pulling power from quantum vacuum fluctuations. That's theoretically possible, but no one's ever actually done it, Alex finished. He'd worked with Lisa long enough to follow her thinking, which means they're centuries ahead of us. The comm channel erupted with panic chatter from Earth Command. The Krix broadcast arrived simultaneously across every frequency, every device, every screen on every human habitat from Mercury to the Kuiper Belt. The message was simple: submit or be eradicated. Lisa watched the alien ultimatum scroll across her display. Beside her, Alex's expression shifted from concern to something else entirely, something that might have been called anticipation in a different context. "You're smiling," Lisa observed. "Am I?" Alex pulled up tactical displays, his fingers dancing through holographic menus. "Funny thing about humanity, Lisa, we've spent the last 2 centuries at peace. Real peace. No major wars, no existential threats. Do you know how frustrating that's been for certain segments of our species?" "The ones you work with." "The ones I work with," he confirmed. 3 generations of weapons researchers, military strategists, and tactical engineers who have been theorizing doomsday scenarios with nothing to actually test them against. He turned to her, and his smile was genuinely unsettling. "They just gave us permission to open the toy box." The Krix attacked Earth first. They had studied humanity's emotional attachments, determined that the homeworld would be the optimal target to break our spirit. They were not prepared for what humanity had been quietly building. Lisa stood in the Strategic Command Center deep beneath Luna's surface, surrounded by holographic displays showing the battle unfold. The Krix had deployed singularity weapons, controlled micro-black holes that could tear through planetary defenses. Earth's shields, based on modified Alcubierre field generators, held for exactly 43 seconds. Then humanity stopped playing defense. "Deploying von Neumann's swarm," Alex announced calmly, as if he was ordering coffee rather than unleashing self-replicating combat drones that had been deemed too dangerous to even test during peacetime. Lisa watched in horrified fascination as millions of microscopic machines poured from hidden facilities across the lunar surface. Each one was capable of reproducing using raw materials from asteroids, ships, or even enemy vessels. Within minutes, they'd quadrupled their numbers. Within an hour, the space around Earth was thick with an autonomous mechanical plague. The Krix ships began to dissolve. "Jesus, Alex," Lisa breathed. "Those things don't have an off switch, do they?" "They do," Alex replied, "but we're not using it yet." The second wave of Krix vessels arrived with antimatter weaponry, sterilizing entire swaths of the swarm. Humanity responded with relativistic kill vehicles. Projectiles accelerated to 99.9% of light speed, using experimental drives that had cost 3 researchers their sanity trying to calculate the energy requirements. The impact of a single RKV carried the kinetic energy of a nuclear arsenal. One Krix capital ship simply ceased to exist, converted to plasma in a fraction of a nanosecond. "They're adapting," Lisa warned, watching her sensors. "Deploying some kind of probability shield. They're making the RKV's trajectories exist in quantum superposition until impact. The weapons are literally missing because the cricks are collapsing the wave function favorably. Alex nodded to his second-in-command. Deploy the Fermi paradox package. Lisa's blood went cold. That's not actually ready for deployment, the simulations showed. The simulations showed it would work 87% of the time, Alex interrupted. I'll take those odds. The Fermi paradox package was humanity's answer to a question no one had wanted to ask. What if the reason we'd never found alien life wasn't because we were alone, but because the universe itself was hostile to space-faring civilizations? The weapon manipulated dark energy, the mysterious force driving cosmic expansion. In targeted regions of space, it could be accelerated, locally increasing the rate of universal expansion. To an outside observer, nothing changed. But to anything within the affected zone, the universe itself was tearing apart faster than atomic bonds could hold. 3 Crix vessels simply unraveled, their constituent atoms ripped apart by the accelerated expansion of the space they occupied. That's a war crime, Lisa whispered. Against who? Alex asked. The Crix, they tried to exterminate us, the universe. It's already doing this, just slower. The Crix responded with their ultimate weapon, a causality virus. Information sent backward through time to prevent humanity from ever developing spaceflight. Lisa watched the probability matrices fluctuate wildly as competing timelines fought for dominance. They're trying to erase us retroactively, she said, her voice tight. We need to. Already on it, Alex said. Humanity's quantum archaeologists had predicted this exact scenario. Across the solar system, temporal anchors activated, devices that literally pinned human history into place using closed, time-like curves and Novikov self-consistency. The timeline stabilized, crystallized, became immutable. The Crix causality virus crashed against humanity's temporal fortification and shattered. How? The word was broadcast across all channels in accented but understandable English. The Crix commander, speaking for the first time. How does a species so young possess such weapons? Alex opened a channel and Lisa was struck by how calm he sounded. Because we've been bored. For 200 years, we've had the resources, the knowledge, and the creativity to build nightmares. We just needed the justification. You gave it to us. The war lasted 6 months. The Crix threw everything they had at humanity. Stellar compression bombs, nano-disassemblers, weaponized mathematics that could crash sentient minds by forcing them to comprehend impossible theorems. Humanity countered with weapons that had been locked away in deep storage, or existed only as theoretical papers. Swarms of combat AIs with ethical constraints removed. Asteroids accelerated to relativistic speeds using zero-point energy extraction. Mimetic kill agents designed to corrupt any biological intelligence that perceived them. And finally, the Einstein-Rosen bridge implosion, a method of collapsing stable wormholes directly into enemy space, creating naked singularities that violated every conservation law physics held sacred. The Crix sued for peace. Lisa and Alex stood once again on Luna Station's observation deck. The star field was clearer now, clearer because much of the orbital infrastructure had been vaporized during the conflict. Earth below showed scars, atmospheric burn marks, crater chains where singularity weapons had grazed too close, the faint shimmer of temporal repair fields stabilizing causality. 7 billion dead, Lisa said quietly. 15 habitats destroyed. Mars will take a century to recover. Could have been worse, Alex replied. Could it, really? She turned to face him. We revealed ourselves, Alex, not just to the Crix but to everyone watching. Every species in the galaxy now knows that humans, when threatened, will deploy weapons that violate the Geneva Convention, the Outer Space Treaty, and several laws of physics. Good, Alex said simply. Let them know. Let them understand that humanity invented the concept of mutually assured destruction when we barely understood how to split the atom. that we theorized antimatter weapons before we could even create stable antimatter, that we've spent centuries imagining increasingly creative ways to kill each other and anything else that might pose a threat. He gestured to the scarred earth below. This is who we are, Lisa. Not saints, not angels. We're the species that looked at the peaceful cosmos and said, but what if it wasn't? We're the ones who turned game theory into an art form and efficiency into a religion. The Cricks wanted to unleash hell. He smiled that unsettling smile again. They had no idea hell was our prototype design. Lisa looked back at Earth, thinking of all the weapons still locked away, still theoretical, still waiting. Weapons that had been judged too dangerous even for this war. She thought about the researchers already proposing new projects, inspired by the conflict. She thought about humanity's boundless, terrifying creativity when properly motivated. God help anyone who threatens us again, she whispered. God, Alex chuckled darkly. Lisa, if God had seen our weapon specifications, she'd have intervened at the planning stage. The Cricks had fled to their home systems, carrying with them a warning that would spread through the galactic community. Humanity was not to be disturbed, not because they were peaceful, but because peace was the only thing keeping their darker impulses in check. The galaxy had finally learned what humans had always known. There were far worse things than extinction. And humanity had cataloged, theorized, and weaponized every single one. As Lisa turned to leave the observation deck, she noticed Alex already pulling up new files, new proposals, new theories. The war was over, but humanity's imagination never rested. Finally, they'd had a reason to get really nasty. The galaxy would remember.